Hey, this is Mark. I walk into the living room, the hum of the air conditioner the only sound in the otherwise still house. Rachel's phone is sitting on the couch, face up. I don't know why, but my eyes keep drifting toward it. I know it wasn't there when I woke up. I glance at it again, unsure. 15 years of marriage, 3 kids, there's no reason to snoop. But something inside me stirs, an itch I can't scratch. It's stupid. I shouldn't even be thinking this way. But something feels off. Rachel's been different lately, distant, distracted. Late nights at work, hours spent on her phone, a guarded smile when she replies to texts. I've pushed it all aside. I've told myself I'm imagining things. But here it is, her phone, sitting in plain view. I sit down on the couch. My hand hovers over the phone. I don't know why I'm even considering this. It feels wrong, like I'm crossing a line I never have before. I should leave it alone. But instead, my fingers unlock the phone. The screen is full of messages, most from friends, nothing unusual. But then there's one from someone named Tim. My gut tightens. I remember Tim, high school, a guy she used to talk about occasionally. She never mentioned him since we got together. Why is he texting her now? I scroll. At first, it's casual, just greetings and small talk. Hey, long time no talk. How've you been? Rachel replies, we're good. Kids are growing up too fast. Life's been crazy. Normal. Fine. But something feels off. Why is she talking to him after all these years? She's never mentioned Tim before. I keep going. The next message is a little more personal. Remember when we went to the lake? Good times. Rachel replies, haha, yeah? We were so stupid back then. It's nostalgic. It's friendly. But it doesn't sit right. Why now? Why is Tim texting her about this, now, after so long? I keep scrolling, unable to stop. We should meet up sometime, catch up, grab a drink. My heart skips. This is different. This isn't just a friendly conversation. It feels loaded. And Rachel? She never mentioned seeing Tim. We should meet up, it hangs there, like an invitation. I should stop. I want to stop. But I keep going. The next message hits harder. I miss you. I always thought about you. The words feel like a punch in the stomach. I should close the phone. I want to close the phone, but I don't. I scroll down, something pulling me deeper into this pit I'm digging. And there it is. The photo. It's of Rachel, her face slightly turned, her expression one I recognize. It's not explicit, but it's intimate. The kind of intimacy we share when we're alone. My throat tightens. I can't breathe. I stare at the screen, my mind trying to process what's happening, what I'm seeing. It's too much. It's too real. I don't know what to do. My hands shake as I close the phone, pressing it into my lap. I feel like I've been hit. My stomach is in knots, my thoughts racing, but nothing makes sense. I don't know what to do next. I don't know if I want to know the truth. I just sit there. I can't move. Everything around me feels distant, out of focus. The morning stretches out in tense silence. Rachel's still asleep upstairs, and I've made a decision. I leave her phone right where it is, on the couch, messages open for her to see when she wakes up. The screen shines, frozen on the photo she sent him. I sit at the kitchen table, pretending to sip my coffee, but my mind is already miles ahead, heart pounding as I wait for the inevitable. It doesn't take long. I hear footsteps. She comes downstairs, and the moment she sees the phone, everything changes. Her expression drops, and for a split second, I think she might play it off, maybe pretend nothing's wrong. But she doesn't. Instead, her eyes flicker to the screen, then back to me. No words, but I can feel the weight of everything shifting. Mark, she says, her voice strained. I don't answer. I let the silence sit there. She stares at the phone, then back at me. Her face flushes red, then white. For a moment, I think she might say something. But she doesn't. She just looks at me, and then the words spill out. I messed up. she says, quiet but clear. No hesitation. No excuses. I didn't mean for it to go this far. It's the first time in weeks I've heard her speak so plainly. There's no deflection, no attempt to deny what's on the screen. I exhale slowly, my mind working through everything I've just read, everything I didn't want to know. I don't even know what to say. I mutter, my voice low, but sharp. Why him? Why now? Rachel shifts uncomfortably, her eyes falling to the floor. She opens her mouth, but no words come at first. Then, finally, she looks up. Tim. He was always popular in high school. I guess I was looking for that attention again. A part of me. I just wanted to feel noticed. I blink, stunned, as the pieces start to come together. So you're telling me, what? You were lonely? You wanted attention from someone who could make you feel desirable? She nods, her lips trembling. I didn't mean to hurt you, Mark. But yes. I guess I was craving something that I wasn't getting here. The words slice through me like glass, raw and jagged. What does she mean by something I wasn't getting here? You think I haven't been giving you attention? You think I haven't been there for you? I stand up, the chair scraping back harshly against the floor. Do you think I've just been checked out for the last 15 years? You don't think I've tried? Her face crumples, a wave of guilt washing over her. No. That's not it. I love you, Mark. I do. But somewhere along the way, I stopped feeling seen. And when Tim reached out, it felt good. For a moment I was just me. Not just mom or wife. Her words sting, but I push them down. You really think that's an excuse for this? I gesture toward the phone, still open on the couch. This? You think sending pictures, exchanging these kinds of messages, that's just some harmless nostalgia? She winces, shaking her head. No. It wasn't harmless. I know that now. I shouldn't have let it go this far. I swallow hard, trying to keep the anger from boiling over. You've been letting it go this far for a while, Rachel. And I don't know what's worse, that you did it, or that you didn't think I'd notice. I'm sorry. Her voice cracks. She looks at the phone again, then at me. I'll block him. I'll take him off everything. I'll remove the messages. I'll fix this. Her desperation isn't enough to calm the storm inside me. You can block him. You can delete the messages. But I don't know how you fix this, Rachel. I point between us. How do you fix the fact that you didn't trust me enough to talk to me? I stand there for a moment, the weight of the conversation settling in. Her attempts to reach out, to close the distance, fall flat. I'm still too raw. Too angry. And it's not about the messages anymore, it's about everything they represent. Rachel takes a step toward me, arms outstretched, her voice soft. Mark, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to fix this, but I want to. Please, just... She stops short when I take a step back, instinctively pulling away from her touch. No, I say, my voice firm. I can't. I need space. Right now, I can't do this. I can't pretend everything's fine when you've just shattered everything. She pulls her arms back slowly, her face falling. Okay, she whispers. Okay. The silence between us stretches out, thick and suffocating. She stands there, hesitant, her shoulders slumped. But neither of us moves. Neither of us knows what to do next. The decision comes on a Thursday night. I can't keep this to myself. The message history with Tim isn't just about Rachel anymore. It's bigger than that. I can't let this spiral out of control. I know I have to do something about it. I've been staring at the phone, Rachel's phone, for hours, tracing every word, every exchange. What strikes me isn't just the timeline, it's the pattern. Tim starts the conversations every time. He reaches out first, initiating almost all of it. Rachel's responses, though, are always passive. She never shuts him down. She never reciprocates the explicit content, but she doesn't stop him, either. She feeds the fire without adding more fuel, but it burns nonetheless. I sit there, digesting it all. Her indifference stings more than the actual messages. She allowed it. For weeks, she let him into her life, into our life. I want to ask her why, but I know I can't yet. Not without confronting Tim. The decision is immediate. If Rachel's going to hide behind passive behavior, I'm not. I need to do something. I dial the number I find, Tim's fiancée. It takes a moment to compose myself before I press call. She answers after a few rings. Hello? Hi. I say, my voice steady but tight. Is this Katie? Yes, she replies, her tone polite but cautious. Who is this? I take a breath. This is Mark. I'm Rachel's husband. There's a pause on the other end. I know exactly what she's thinking. I can almost hear the wheels turning in her mind. I don't understand. Why are you calling me? I need to talk to you about something. Something important. I say, and as I speak, I feel the weight of what I'm about to say crashing down on me. It's about Tim. You need to know what's been going on. The conversation unravels after that. She listens, silent, stunned, as I carefully lay out the details of Tim and Rachel's messages. I don't mention Rachel's photo or anything explicit, but I don't need to. Katie's reaction is enough. Her voice cracks, and I hear the stifled sobs in the background. I'm so sorry, she whispers. I had no idea. The silence between us feels too long. I can't bring myself to say much more. Katie's world is crashing in real time, just like mine. I've done what I needed to do. I hang up, the weight of the call settling like a stone in my chest. I feel no satisfaction, no relief. I only feel empty. Back in the living room, the ripple effects begin to spread. Rachel walks in, her eyes already red. She's been crying. I see the tremor in her hands as she holds a cup of coffee, but she doesn't speak. Not yet. I talked to Tim's fiancée, I say quietly. Rachel's face pales. What? I nod, staring straight at her. I couldn't let this go, Rachel. You're not the only one hurt by this. She doesn't say anything, just stands there, staring at me. It's not guilt I see in her eyes, it's fear. We need to fix this. We need help, she says, her voice barely above a whisper. We should go to marriage counseling. Please, Mark. Please, let's do this together. I take a deep breath, clenching my jaw. Counseling feels like a small, fragile bridge between where we are now and where we used to be. But I'm not sure it's enough. I don't know if I can, Rachel. I say, the words tasting like gravel in my mouth. I don't know if it's possible. You can't throw away 15 years, she says, her voice cracking. We've got 3 kids, Mark. We owe it to them. The weight of her words presses down on me. 15 years. 3 kids. What do I owe them? What do I owe myself? I'm not talking about divorce yet, I finally say. I'm not ready for that. But I need to understand why you did this. Rachel opens her mouth to speak, but no words come out. I see the tears well up in her eyes, but it's not enough. The trust has been fractured, and I don't know if it can be rebuilt. I need time, I say, standing up. I need time to think about everything. She nods, wiping her eyes, but I don't think she's hearing me. She's looking at me with hope, the same way she always does when she thinks I'm the one who can fix everything. But I don't feel like that man anymore. And I don't know if I ever will again. The phone call with Katie feels like a bomb dropped in a quiet room. The ripples reach further than I ever expected. By the weekend, word has spread, quiet whispers between friends, and murmured conversations with family. The support is there, but so are the judgments. Everyone has an opinion, everyone has advice. Tim's fiancée, Rachel's old friends, and even my own family have been weighing in, offering their perspectives. Some agree with me, I had a right to know. Others think I should have just left it alone. But the one thing they all seem to share is this underlying assumption that, once you've been married this long, boundaries can get blurry. I'm sitting at the kitchen table when my brother-in-law, Alex, calls. I pick up, feeling like there's no escape from this world I'm suddenly trapped in. Mark, he says, voice low and measured. Look, I get why you're angry. I really do. But I think you handled it the right way. I know it's hard, but sometimes you've got to check things when something doesn't feel right. He pauses, a sigh escaping. I'm just saying you needed proof. It wasn't like you were snooping for no reason. You had to be sure. I lean back, letting his words sink in. Alex is usually quiet, the one who avoids conflict. But there's something different in his tone now. It's like he understands the gravity of the situation, and I can hear the hint of validation in his voice. Maybe he's right. Maybe it's not about trust, it's about self-preservation. Was I supposed to just let this slide? I know. I wasn't sure what to do. It's all a blur now. Mark, listen, he presses. If you're still wondering whether it was justified, think about this. Would Rachel have told you if she hadn't been caught? Would she have opened up about it? That's the thing about these situations, man. You have to dig for the truth. It's not always gonna come to you. I lean forward, the words feeling heavy in my chest. He's right, I know that. The truth doesn't always come easy, especially when it comes to matters of the heart. Later, I get a text from Rachel's best friend, Megan. She's asking how I'm holding up, offering her sympathy but also, subtly, defending Rachel's actions. I know it's rough, Mark, but I also understand how lonely things can get sometimes in long-term relationships. Maybe Rachel didn't mean for it to go this far. It wasn't like she was out there meeting him in person, right? I set the phone down, frustration building. Is that supposed to be comforting? The fact that it was all behind a screen somehow makes it less of a betrayal? But before I can spiral, my mom calls. She's been my rock for years, and if anyone's going to help me through this, it's her. Mark, she says gently, this isn't just about her actions. It's about the breach of trust. I think you had every right to look at that phone. And honestly, I think you're right to feel betrayed. But you also need to think about what comes next. The conversation shifts, and now we're talking about boundaries. You've got to decide what kind of privacy you're willing to accept in a marriage. There's no one-size-fits-all answer, but if you two can't talk openly about what's acceptable, what's off-limits, this is going to happen again. It's like a slap, but it stings in a way that feels truthful. What do you mean? I ask. Mark, privacy is important, yes, but in marriage you share a life. The two of you share everything, and I don't mean everything, but you know what I mean. If there's a divide, a wall between you, this kind of thing happens. Trust gets chipped away at in small ways. I think about that for a moment, the weight of it settling over me. A wall between us. Is that what's been happening for years, and I never noticed? At the family dinner that weekend, Rachel's sister, Claire, offers her own take on the situation. The social media stuff is where everything gets messy. You know, in our parents' day, people didn't reconnect with old flames. It wasn't as easy as sending a quick text or a friend request. But now, it's almost like everyone is available, and a little flirtation can escalate into something bigger without anyone noticing. Claire's words hang in the air, and I can't help but think about how true that is. Social media has blurred the lines between what's appropriate and what's not. The harmless message, the friendly check-in, those can easily cross the line into something more, and before you know it, a harmless reconnection turns into a full-blown emotional affair. By the time I lay my head down that night, I'm left with more questions than answers. Everyone has their own take on what's right, what's wrong, and what should have been done differently. But the one thing no one seems to agree on is how this all fits into the marriage. Is privacy sacred? Or is shared life more important? It's a question I'm still trying to answer. Rachel's resolve to rebuild trust is palpable, but it doesn't come easy. We sit across from each other at the kitchen table, the air between us thick with the weight of everything that's been said. There's no quick fix, no magic words that will undo the hurt. But the conversation feels different now, slower, more deliberate. We've laid it all bare, and what's left is this strange, tentative hope that maybe, just maybe, we can start to rebuild what was broken. She's committed, I can see that much. There's an honesty in her voice when she talks about the boundaries she's willing to establish, the transparency she'll offer moving forward. She mentions deleting contacts, setting tighter controls over her social media. I nod along, listening but unsure if any of it will feel like enough. Is this the beginning of something better, or just a temporary bandage? Mark, I know I've hurt you, she says, voice soft but steady. But I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I want this to work. It should feel reassuring, but I'm left with more questions than answers. I've heard the promises before, seen them falter when the daily grind of life sets in. But this time, there's something different in her eyes, sincerity, maybe. Or maybe it's just me hoping for something I'm not sure I can trust anymore. We discuss the kids next. Their world, like ours, is changing. The tension between us isn't just affecting us, it's affecting them, too. They don't fully understand, not yet, but they sense something is off. I see it in their eyes when they ask why I'm not laughing with Rachel the way I used to, why our goodnight hugs feel stiff. It stings to know they're picking up on the shift. Is this what they're going to remember about our marriage? We agree to pursue counseling, something we've both avoided over the years. The thought of a stranger probing into our private lives makes me uneasy, but I can't deny that we need help. We need someone to help us navigate this mess, to guide us through the rubble and show us how to rebuild. But there's still that gnawing feeling inside of me. Will it work? Will we ever really get back to the way things were? Rachel talks about forgiveness, but I'm not sure we're even close to that yet. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, though. I don't know if I'll ever forget the messages, the pictures, the feeling of betrayal. But can I forgive? I don't know. I think about the difference between forgiveness and trust. Can they coexist? Can I forgive without fully trusting her again? Or will trust always hang in the air, fragile and incomplete, never quite strong enough to hold everything together? The counseling feels like a step, but not a resolution. We're not fixing things yet. We're just trying to survive, to find a way forward. There's no clear-cut answer to what this marriage will look like in the future. We've both made mistakes, and we've both learned some hard lessons. I've learned about the dangers of digital age boundaries, how easy it is for things to get out of hand when emotions get tangled in messages, and the comfortable distance that technology provides. I've learned about the need for communication in marriage, how silently slipping away from each other can lead to cracks that break wide open when exposed. And maybe most painfully, I've learned how desperately attention is needed in long-term relationships, the quiet hunger for connection that can sometimes lead you to reach for things you shouldn't. As we sit there, Rachel's hand resting on the table next to mine, I realize that this journey isn't going to end in a neat resolution. It's not going to end with us holding hands and smiling, all forgiven and forgotten. It's going to be a process, one filled with stumbles and setbacks. But maybe, just maybe, we'll make it through. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means learning to live with the weight of what happened, and choosing to move forward anyway. We're not there yet, but we're trying. And for now, that's enough.